Good morning and welcome to our first interview of the trade day at EVworld here at the ASB Showgrounds in Green Lane. Our first speaker of the day is Nicholas Robilliard.
You got it.
If I got this right. Now, Nicholas is Procurement and Property Manager for Meridian Energy New Zealand, and he's here to speak mostly around fleet management, I believe, at the event. He had the challenging task of switching Meridian's fleet over to electric vehicles and has some really interesting insights into how larger fleets can do just that and the lessons and mistakes and learnings that they've picked up from their own experience and around the industry. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Just to start off, can you tell us a little bit about Meridian's fleet and the project that you went through to switch that over to plug-in vehicles?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it started a long time ago. We looked at way back in 2007 when Mitsubishi had a little product once upon a time called a Mitsubishi Maev, which was awfully expensive, didn't really go very far, but it gave us a test as to what was going to happen in the next decade or so. That set us pretty well because the business always had an appetite to do electric, and then some products started arriving. And our customer team, the guys who have to go out and sell electricity, it's not an easy job. Said, hey, we'd love to be able to drive and pull up an electric vehicle. So we spent some time looking at the numbers, looking at the profile, and went, it's not stacking up at this point. It's just a little too early in maturity. And that's around about 2015. Within a year, we had GPS in our vehicles, and some manufacturers had started bringing product in. And as a result, we then, hey, let's have a look at the data. And literally, it was 20 minutes later, because with that data, you could go, hey, there's something already in this data that tells us the profile is a really good fit. And we're fully up for doing it. And now there's some product that we could actually execute on and make, the electrifying of the fleet happen. So we started that journey, and we've just quietly worked on different parts of the fleet. Pool is obviously the easiest because no one's allocated a vehicle. So that's the low-hanging fruit. And we just quietly let vehicles drop out, and some of them weren't replaced. And we replaced that with either electric vehicle car share, or we purchased a vehicle, and we used kind of a combination of used and new to make that work, because we knew the profile and the type of vehicle was a really good fit.
So just to hold on there, you used, I'm assuming you mean used import vehicles there. Is that a bit of a challenge or a bit of a new concept to large companies like Meridian to access vehicles from that used import market?
Absolutely, and it kind of speaks to the story that if you're going to electrify your fleet, you have to start smashing some of those traditions, and saying, well, why wouldn't we? Is it a warranty issue? Is it a health and safety issue? What are those key reasons why? Is it how long are you going to own the vehicle for? So I just looked and went, well, we've got a very reliable known quantity of a vehicle that was sold in New Zealand. It's maintained and able to be maintained by Nissan New Zealand. It's fit for the requirement, which is this door-to-door sales around a metropolitan area. This is a perfect type of vehicle given its range and profile and its price point. So why would I spend $35,000 on the vehicle when I can spend a lot less on something that's got a low cost of maintenance, and they can turn up and they've got a story to tell that aligns with the product you're selling. So it was just a no-brainer, really. And so that's true. You made a very good point. You have to start hitting those traditions, and so new and used made absolute sense. As like I say, we've had literally no maintenance costs, so we haven't had that issue of I'm concerned about the battery life, or concerned about the performance or anything breaking. Everything's been serviceable, and largely it's been 12-volt batteries, which are easy to fix, and tyres.
Had that ongoing leaf problem?
And look, I don't mind, they're cheap, so it's been very easy to manage and operate the fleet too. So it's had a great advantage, meaning I've got a whole lot less time I'm spending, and Custom Fleet, who manage our fleet with our help, spend on looking after and maintaining a fleet, which is a lot of work.
Yeah. So how many electric vehicles does Meridian have now, and how many non-electric vehicles, I guess, are rolling around?
Yeah, well, look, if we look at our passenger fleet, we started about 50, then we got it down to saying we actually only need about 40 passengers. In fact, we only need 35, we've found it out, so we've taken 15 out. And half of those now are electric. And they're a combination of Generation 2 kind of 24 kilowatt Leaf, a Hyundai Ioniq, shortly Hyundai Kona, obviously that's in the market. 2018 Nissan Leaf, which we've bought in direct from Japan.
Right.
We've got a Nissan EV200, like the vehicle we're in right now, running around to Manapori. And LDV have an EV80 that they produce in cabin chassis, and we're also using that on a ute application with a flat deck. So we're kind of tying a lot of product out in very small quantities to learn about how they work, because our customers keep on saying, well, what product's out there, what works? And we're testing our own backyard because we operate and maintain assets. So, they're hard environments to work in.
Yeah.
So we want to know how these things work.
I imagine that a company like Meridian would be highly awaiting things like utes and so forth,
Yeah.
more vans coming in as electric vehicles.
Absolutely, and I think realistically we know that the big players, if you think of the popular vehicles, the Ford Rangers, the Hiluxes and so forth, I don't expect anything major out of those guys for the next possibly 3, 4, even 5 years. I think that'll probably be a PHEV product to start with, because obviously range is going to be difficult when you've got all-wheel drive. So we're looking at alternatives as to those in the meantime. I'd love it to be like that because I've got a big chunk of my fleet which I can't influence easily at the moment. Yeah.
But what are the key learnings do you think you've picked up, and maybe this is from mistakes you've seen out there that you think large companies need to know when they're considering taking their fleet to an electric mix or a plug-in mix?
I think the biggest thing we've noticed is a lot of people going out and just buying the vehicles without any sense of what their profile is. So they don't even have GPS, so they don't even know if that's a good fit. And they also haven't kind of found out how the people use the cars, and so they haven't really given them the experience they need. They haven't tested the vehicle in a good way. That means when they hand the vehicle over, they can go, I have confidence that it's going to fit the range and the distance and the journeys that these people take. So no wonder there's not good utilization of the vehicles because they've had it before first experience. So very important to know that it fits, for one thing, your profile, and secondly, to take your users on a journey and make sure they feel comfortable, using the vehicles.
And you've run some cars through auction already.
Yeah, we have.
To see after 12 months on your fleet to see how they were handled. What can you tell us about why you did that so soon in the cycle for a vehicle and what you learned from it?
Kind of had two ways. One is, I wanted to learn because our leasing companies have really struggled, obviously, with knowing, well, what's the residual on these. And we have a lot of customers who lease their fleet saying these things are really hard to make work. So I said, well, let's just find out what these things are worth, because I've got plenty of other channels that I want to test. So I'll take out one of these Ioniqs, I'll bring another electric vehicle in to replace it, but let's just see what happens. And what we found was the residual was very, very strong with that kind of 12-month, 20,000 on the clock. I put it through Turner's auctions. The first vehicle they had put through that was New Zealand new electric vehicle. Yes. It was a Hyundai Ioniq, and we got damn near 90% residual value retained. So really good response. We're going to keep doing this for the next few months. Because we're actually winning. We're on the right side of the ledger in terms of the economics. So it's a really good story, and it's also feeding into the second-hand market where we see there is actually really strong demand for good electric vehicle products who might not want to spend the full retail price. Yeah. But if you can make that a little softer at the front end, then it's really well received.
How have you had to deal with the users of the vehicles in regards to shifting to electric? I mean, what have you picked up there, and how do you find they receive those vehicles?
Look, in every organisation is going to be different here, given your culture, DNA, what you do as a business. For us, we've had, as usual, in any given set of users, you're going to get a proportion that are just kind of, we're not there, we're not interested, we're scared. And so you've got to work on them the most. They're the people you focus on going, righto, let's journey plan this thing to death, go make sure they feel comfortable that they can turn heaters on, lights on, stereos on, do the journey safely, and feel like they're not sitting with 20k left when they get back, Yeah. So that's been not unusual, but it's been the minority for us, fortunately, because we produce power. So we've got engaged staff who want to see how these things work. We've got lots of engineers who love this stuff. So we've been fortunate to have a culture who said, hey, we really want to contribute to producing less carbon as part of our missions in doing that. And they've been really excited by the products and the experience. And we've worked really hard to make sure they had a really good first experience. So I think that on the whole has been very, very positive. I can't speak for every company because I know this is challenging, and you get very different segments in the market that this can be hard work. So, but our experience is it's a minority of people who have really kind of been nervous about it. Yeah.
Look, fantastic. Thanks for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of EVworld.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks for watching. If you want more videos, we've got a lot more coming out today from EVworld. Subscribe to the YouTube page at the link below, or if you're watching this on Facebook, subscribe to our Facebook page, or subscribe to the EVtalk email alerts on our website. Thanks very much.